Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, Karen called the cops on my service dog and accused me of being too young to be disabled again. Entitled dad tries to skip the queue at the emergency room. An entitled mother threatened to sue us for her son's accident. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Karen called the cops on my service dog and accused me of being too young to be disabled again. So, I saw the Karen with her child again. But this time in Walmart while I was grocery shopping. I made the mistake of ignoring my dog when she was alerting to my heart rate. I genuinely thought she wanted the sandwich I was eating. Boy, was I ever wrong. I ended up really dizzy and out of breath and had to sit down in the corner of the store while she was doing deep pressure therapy. I must have been on the floor for about 10 minutes. During that time, a staff member at Walmart came over to check on me and ask if I was all right. They gave me a free bottle of water as well, and I am very appreciative of that. Anyways, while I was down, the same child saw me again from a distance and had another meltdown. The child's mom already explained to me last time that her daughter had autism. She was screaming and crying about my dog being there because she was terrified. I can understand why she may be scared because my dog is by no means small. She's a 115 pounds female cane corso. Aside from alert and response, she's also trained for mobility assistance. Her breed isn't typically used as a service dog, but she was a natural. I got her as a pet dog and she became the service dog I needed. She's 100% good girl. This woman did not leave the store with her child that was having a meltdown. Instead, she had the audacity to call 911 on me. Eventually, the cops did show up and she kept shouting that I was faking having a disability because I was too young to actually be disabled again, that it was illegal for me to have my service dog anywhere near food indoors, and that people like me are the reason why she has had to suffer lockdowns. I'm Asian. She said the least I could do is be considerate and stay home away from everyone and keep my dog at home where it belongs. My dog was very clearly vested with tags that says service dog. I showed the cops my medical note that I carry stating that I require a service dog. In the end, the manager banned the woman from coming to the local Walmart for a year. The cops only gave her a warning for wasting their time and escorted her off the property. Crying is not an emergency. I agree. It was absurd of her to demand that I leave the store last time because my dog triggered her daughter's meltdown. Especially so this time. This woman did not learn her lesson. Ugh, you're too young to be disabled. I got that so many times as I'd been disabled from infancy. I must be faking, or I just want attention, because who doesn't enjoy being harassed while trying to go shopping? It's so annoying. I'm sorry you had to go through all that, especially with the added xenophobia there. I am glad that both the cops and Walmart made it clear her behavior was not okay. I feel badly for her daughter because, instead of being supported and taught coping mechanisms to help her, her mother is letting meltdowns happen to try and manipulate others. It's just so shitty. Give your doggo a hug from me. Would the clearly racist comment be grounds for Opie to get a TRO so that the lady can ambush her in the parking lot of Walmart without being arrested? She kept shouting that I was faking having a disability because I was too young to actually be disabled again. Yet her daughter is disabled with autism. Yes, it doesn't have to be a disability, but it often is. She needs to work with her daughter for managing her stressors and regulation her stress levels better. Took me till my early/mid-20s to really start to learn mine. And would have made my teen years a lot easier if I was able to learn them sooner. That must have been so frustrating. I have had the pleasure of knowing a few cane corsos through rescue work, and good God, are they amazing animals. Unrelated story, I had to bring one to the vet for the rescue, and while waiting to be checked in, she practically climbed into my lap in the waiting room because a Yorkie barked at her and it hurt her feelings. The receptionist's face was priceless. Entitled Dad Tries to Skip the Queue at the Emergency Room. This one is long, sorry. For context, I, 26F, live in a northern European country with universal healthcare and free emergency care services. On Friday evening, I slipped walking back to my apartment. There's a short but steep gravel path with some larger rocks embedded in the ground at the entrance. It had rained that morning, so the ground was still damp. A man saw me slip backward and came to help me up. I hit my head fairly hard on the ground, but between the adrenaline and the embarrassment, it was mostly just my pride that was hurt. I got inside and began taking my braids down and noticed my hair/head was damp, and I thought initially it was from leftover groundwater. Nope, it was blood. A few moments later, I was seeing double and deducted the fall was probably a lot worse than embarrassment from having a witness to my clumsiness. I head to the ER and get my queue ticket number and sit down in the waiting area. By this point, I could feel the top of my, unfortunately favorite, shirt in the back getting wet. Every time I touched the back of my head, it came back red, like it was genuinely gushing. My neck was wet, my shoulders were wet, my hair was matted and red. I was wearing a hoodies, zipped all the way with the hood up. After about 20 minutes of waiting, a man came in speaking English with a son who was maybe 9 to 12, I'm very bad at guessing ages. The kid seemed chill, he was limping a little. The dad was very agitated and seemed annoyed with the large amount of people in the waiting area. I mean, come on, it's Friday evening in the summer, of course the ER will have a longer wait. As the queue numbers get ringed, there are some times that no one gets up. This happens often when people get tired of waiting and decide their emergency isn't emergency-ish enough and just leave. Every time this happens, this father would stand with his kid and go in and pretend it's their turn. The nurses actually check the queue tickets here, so they get turned back each time and sit down again. I waited just under 1.5 hours before my queue ticket was called. I stood up and started walking toward the nurse station when I heard a voice shout out, "Hey! Do you speak English?" "Yes." "Could we go before you?" "Come on, he's just a kid." I'm not a monster, so I asked, "How injured is he?" If he was genuinely in extreme pain, I'd let them go. He said, "He's limping. You're walking just fine, so you can't be more injured than him." I felt bad for the kid because he was visibly embarrassed and sort of mumbling like, "Dad, stop, it's fine, we can wait." I almost scoffed at the "more injured than him" comment. I just took my hood down, unzipped my hoodie, took it off and turned my back to the waiting room, exposing my blood-soaked hair and upper back. There were some muffled gasps and one little girl let out a little shriek. I turned back around and asked if he still thought his son was still more injured than me. He stuttered out a "No, why you should, go on ahead." I didn't wait a moment longer and was ushered into the room for stitches and concussion diagnosis. I can't say for sure whether or not they were tourists, but it's very annoying to think that they're tourists here and feel entitled to step in front of the patiently waiting, well, patients. My biggest takeaway of the evening is my favorite shirt is now ruined, so please comment your links to your favorite shirts so I can get multiple replacements. Soak your shirt in cold water that has salt in it. Salty cold water can help lift blood stains. I had a white long-sleeved t-shirt that I loved as a child. I was 10 and wearing said top, had an accident on my bike and cut my head open pretty bad. Needed a trip to hospital and the wound gluing and stitched. I thought my top was ruined. 2 days later, I see it in a bucket in the kitchen. Ask my mom and she said she was getting the blood out. This once white t-shirt was covered in blood. Front and back. My mother, ladies and gentlemen, got that t-shirt bright white again. Once I outgrew the top, it was passed to my younger cousin. She liked it and had no idea it was the top I had my bike crash in. When I told her, she stopped wearing it, haha. Our emergency rooms would have moved you into an examination room immediately. They don't want a bloody person bleeding in the waiting room. Did you let them know how much blood was gushing? By the way, head wounds are bloody, lots of blood vessels there. I showed the administration my head before sitting down, but it was clear they were very busy. If it was a Friday evening in winter, or a Monday in autumn, it certainly would have gone down differently. An entitled mother threatened to sue us for her son's accident. I'm a 27-year-old woman and I used to work at a hotel at the front desk. It was more of a place to stay for the night kind of hotel, but we did do a lot of special events like weddings and anniversaries. On one particular night, there was a private wedding going on in our garden. For context, the garden is behind the lobby and the pool is right next to it. In order to get to the pool entrance, you would have to either take a short flight of stairs or take a ramp for wheelchairs. This is pretty important. Unfortunately, at this time, due to the amount of people at the wedding and the decorations, the ramp was blocked off and guests weren't able to use it to get to the pool. Luckily, it was a weekday during the fall, so we didn't expect there would be a lot of people at the pool. I live in Arizona, so the falls here don't get that cold. During the ceremony, it was just me and my supervisor, we'll call Z, just chilling at the front desk and talking when a young woman approached us. I greeted her, but she basically blew me off saying, "Manager, please." Z walked up and said, "I'm the supervisor, what can I do for you?" I couldn't get to pool due to that stupid wedding and my son fell down the stairs. I was surprised. "Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. Is he okay? Does he need any bandages or anything?" Yeah, he's fine, but you shouldn't have blocked off the ramp." "Z, can you talk me through what happened?" I was pushing my son in his stroller and we couldn't get to the ramp, so I tried to take it down the stairs and he fell out of the stroller and hit the ground at the bottom. He didn't get hurt, but it scared him and he started crying. I want compensation for this since it's your fault the ramp was blocked." "Z, I am sorry that happened. I'm glad he's doing okay. May I ask if he was buckled into his stroller?" A puzzled look on her face, "No, he wasn't." Z, already annoyed, "If your son wasn't safely secured in the stroller, then with all due respect dash." Are you implying I'm a bad mom or something?" Z, of course not, I'm just not sure how it's our fault your son got hurt when he wasn't secured in his stroller. I can run it through with our manager, but she won't be in until tomorrow morning. We can give you a free coupon for our restaurant, but I'm afraid we are unable to offer any more at this time. Pauses for a moment, realizing she wasn't going to get her way, and leans in with a wide grin. "Well, I just want to thank for handling this and being so professional, and I'm being sarcastic of course, because you're not." Z, "Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but this is out of my hands for now. I can talk to my manager tomorrow when she's in, but at this moment I am unable to offer you anything else. I'm sorry your son got hurt and I hope he's okay." Ugh. Fine. You people are so useless. You'll be facing legal action if I am not refunded. And with that she stormed off. Obviously she left early the next day and we didn't face any legal action. I get that she was probably a protective mom who wanted to blame somebody besides herself for her son getting hurt. I want to clarify that due to her reservation being booked through a third party, it was prepaid, meaning we can't make any adjustments to the price without going through them first. The fact that she was more concerned about her compensation than the well-being of her own son is just gross. Seriously, parents, buckle in your kids. Okay, I'm sorry. I have a 2-year-old, when ramp's blocked, I take my son out and walk him and the stroller down the stairs. So why is it that people can't use common sense for the sake of their child's safety? I thought the same thing. First of all, my kids were not unbuckled in their stroller ever. And secondly, there's no way in hell I'd be trying to take my 2-year-old bumping downstairs in the stroller. LOL. Did she mention if she was trying to get into the pool? Kind of weird, she would make such an effort to use the ramp without actually wanting to use it. It sounds more like she saw the mess on the ramp and made a beeline for the office to get compensation. Although it is a serious safety issue and should never be allowed to be fully or partially block a handicap walkway. Had her kid actually fallen due to someone at the contracted wedding or the hotel restricting a handicap walkway, would have still received a great payout whether the kid was strapped in the stroller or not. I think you're right about her seeing a potential payout and leaping on it. If her toddler fell and bounced down the stairs, her first stop should have been a doctor/hospital, even if her end goal was just to gather a paper trail for her compensation over making sure her child was okay. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.